Imagine this. You're sleeping peacefully inside a small camping tent, and outside, it's completely dark. You hear the wind moving through the trees, and something heavy steps on a branch nearby. Then, silence. You freeze, because there's only one thin layer of fabric between you and an entire forest. Out there could be wolves, bears, mountain lions, animals that can smell you from hundreds of meters away, animals that can hear sounds your ears could never notice, animals that see the night like it's daytime. And yet, most people wake up the next morning completely unharmed. Why? Think about it. A sleeping human can't run, can't fight, can't even open their eyes fast enough to react. By every rule of nature, you should be one of the easiest meals in the forest. So why aren't predators waiting outside your tent every single night? The answer is far stranger than most people realize. It isn't because wild animals are friendly. It isn't because your tent protects you. And it definitely isn't because they don't know you're there. In fact, many of them probably know exactly where you are. They smell you. They hear you breathing. Some may even walk close enough to watch you, but then they quietly turn around and disappear back into the darkness. Why would one of nature's greatest hunters walk away from such an easy opportunity? The answer begins millions of years ago, long before cities, long before farming, long before humans built houses. Back then, our ancestors slept under the open sky. No locked doors, no electric lights, no alarms, just fire, family, and whatever was hiding in the darkness. Every single night was a survival test. If humans were truly easy prey, our species would probably never have survived long enough to build civilization. Yet somehow we did. And the reason has almost nothing to do with strength, because the most dangerous weapon humans ever created wasn't a spear, wasn't a bow, wasn't even fire. It was something much more powerful, something that changed the way wild animals saw us forever. Today, scientists have discovered that many large predators don't simply avoid humans by accident. And for thousands of generations, they have learned that humans are different. Different from deer, different from rabbits, different from almost every other animal in the forest. To us, the woods can feel terrifying at night. But to many predators, humans are the creatures they would rather not challenge. And once you understand why, you'll never think about camping the same way again. Because the biggest surprise isn't that animals know you're sleeping, it's that even while you're asleep, they may be far more afraid of you than you are of them. So let's start with the first reason, and it begins with one simple truth. Humans may not look dangerous, but nature has learned that appearances can be incredibly misleading. Let's start with something that sounds impossible. Most predators don't see humans as easy food. They see us as a risk. That might seem strange. After all, humans don't have sharp claws, we can't outrun a deer, we don't have thick fur or powerful jaws. Compared to many wild animals, we look weak. So why would a predator be afraid of us? Because animals don't survive by taking unnecessary risks. Imagine you're a hungry mountain lion. You have two choices. The first is a deer. You've hunted deer your entire life. You know exactly how they move. You know when they panic. You know where to attack. The second choice is a human, a strange creature you've never hunted before. It walks on two legs. It carries unfamiliar objects. Sometimes it's alone. Sometimes 10 more suddenly appear. Sometimes it makes loud noises. Sometimes it creates fire. Sometimes it fights back. Would you really choose the unknown? Probably not. That's exactly how many predators think. To survive in the wild, every hunt is a gamble. Even the strongest hunter can lose. A broken leg, a damaged eye, one deep bite, one bad mistake. Any of these injuries could mean death. Not because another animal kills them, but because they can no longer hunt. There are no hospitals in nature, no doctors, no medicine. If a predator gets seriously injured, it may slowly starve to death. That's why wild animals are much more careful than movies make them look. Hollywood shows fearless monsters attacking everything they see, but reality is very different. Real predators are patient, they calculate, they observe, and most importantly, they avoid unnecessary danger. Humans often fall into that dangerous category. Over thousands of years, predators have learned one important lesson. Humans are unpredictable. A deer almost always reacts the same way. It runs. A rabbit hides. An elk kicks. But humans, no one knows. One person might scream. Another might throw rocks. Another could have a weapon. Others might be hiding nearby. For a predator, that's a terrible gamble. And nature doesn't reward bad decisions. It rewards safe ones. Scientists have noticed this pattern all over the world, and large predators often change their routes when humans are nearby. Instead of moving toward people, they quietly move away. Not because they're weak, because avoiding danger is often smarter than fighting it. Think about your own life. If you saw two roads, one was completely safe, the other might contain something dangerous, which one would you choose? Most people choose the safer path, and wild animals make the same decision every single day. And here's something even more surprising. Many predators don't even need to see a human. Your voice alone can change their behavior. Researchers have found that hearing normal human conversation is often enough to make certain predators leave the area. Imagine that for a second. Not shouting, not gunshots, not explosions, just people talking. To us, it's ordinary. To many predators, it's a warning, because throughout history, whenever humans appeared, trouble usually followed. Generation after generation, the animals that stayed away from humans survived longer, and the ones that got too close often didn't. Over thousands of years, that caution became part of their natural behavior. It wasn't learned in a single lifetime. It slowly became part of their survival strategy. In a way, the forest remembers us, not through stories, not through language, but through millions of survival decisions repeated across countless generations. And that's only the beginning, because even if a predator isn't afraid of you, there's another reason it still may never attack. A reason that's hiding in the air itself. Something every wild animal notices long before it ever sees your face. Your scent. And once you understand what your scent tells the forest, everything starts to make sense. Now let's talk about something you almost never think about. Your scent. To you, you probably don't smell like anything unusual. But to a wild animal, you are impossible to ignore. Many predators can smell things from incredibly long distances. Long before they ever see you, they already know you're there. But here's the strange part. You don't smell like normal prey. Think about a deer. A wolf has spent its entire life following that scent. It knows exactly what it smells like. It knows exactly what usually happens next. The same is true for rabbits, wild pigs, or elk. These are familiar smells. Your scent is completely different. You smell like soap, laundry detergent, plastic, metal, bug spray, sunscreen, cooked food, smoke. Even the clothes you're wearing produce strange smells that don't exist naturally in the forest. To a predator, you're not just another animal. You're something unusual. And in nature, unusual often means dangerous. Most predators don't like surprises. They prefer prey they've hunted hundreds of times before. Something they understand, something predictable. You don't fit that pattern. You're a mystery, and mystery makes predators cautious. But that's still not the biggest reason humans survived the night. The biggest reason was fire. Imagine living thousands of years ago. No houses, no flashlights, no fences. When the sun disappeared, the world changed. Darkness belonged to predators, and our ancestors knew that. So every evening, they built a fire. At first, it probably happened by accident. Later, it became one of the greatest discoveries in human history. Fire gave humans warmth. It helped cook food. It provided light. But it also created something even more valuable. A safety zone. Most wild animals naturally avoid flames, not because someone taught them to, because fire has always been dangerous. For countless generations, animals that ran away from fire survived, and animals that ignored it often didn't. That fear became part of nature itself. Now, imagine you're a hungry predator walking through a dark forest. Suddenly, you see bright orange light, you smell smoke, you hear strange voices, you notice moving shadows. Is that really worth investigating? Probably not. It's much safer to keep walking, and that's exactly what many predators do. This simple discovery changed human history forever. Long before humans built cities, they learned how to control one thing almost every other animal feared: fire. Didn't just keep predators away, it gave humans confidence. Families could sleep together, children could rest, people could recover their energy for the next day. Without fire, predator, human history might have looked completely different. But here's something even more fascinating. Fire wasn't just protecting one person, it protected the entire group. And that's another reason predators rarely attack sleeping humans, because humans almost never slept alone. Imagine you're a wolf looking for dinner. You find one deer standing by itself, easy target. Then you find 20 large creatures sleeping together around a bright fire. Some are moving, some are talking. One suddenly wakes up, another throws more wood into the flames. Is that really the easier choice? Of course not. Predators understand numbers, and many hunting animals avoid large groups whenever possible. A group means more eyes, more noise, more surprises, more danger. Humans figured this out thousands of years ago. Sleep together, stay close, keep the fire burning, take turns watching. Simple ideas, but incredibly effective ones. Little by little, these habits helped humans survive in a world filled with powerful predators. And after thousands of generations, many wild animals learned something important. Humans weren't ordinary prey. They were unpredictable. They worked together. They used tools. They controlled fire, and they never gave up easily. For a predator, that combination simply wasn't worth the risk. So the next time you go camping and you hear strange sounds outside your tent, remember this. You may feel like the weakest creature in the forest, but the animal outside is making a decision too. It is asking itself a very important question. Is this really worth the risk? Most of the time, the answer is no. It quietly walks away, searching for an easier meal somewhere else. In a strange way, both you and the predator want exactly the same thing, to survive the night. And that's why for thousands of years, an invisible agreement has existed between humans and the wild. Not written in words, not protected by laws, but shaped by millions of years of evolution. Humans learned to respect nature. Nature learned to respect humans. That's why, even today, a thin piece of fabric is often enough to separate you from a world full of predators. Not because the tent is strong, but because the creature outside already understands something your ancestors spent thousands of years teaching the wild. Sometimes, the smartest hunt is the one that never begins. And perhaps that's the most incredible part of this entire story. While you're lying asleep beneath the stars, feeling completely defenseless, the animal watching from the darkness may not be thinking, "There's my next meal." It may be thinking something very different. That's a human. I'd better keep walking. And honestly, that single decision may be one of the greatest survival victories our species has ever earned.